What's up YouTube? This is Andrew with Programming Liftoff, and today we are going to complete part 5 of the PyQt calculator tutorial. Now this is the last part, so we'll be wrapping up the calculator. We'll be able to use this clear button up here. We'll be able to use these operation buttons on multiple digits for the second number. And we'll fix one bug that we have in our calculator. So let's get started. So I'm going to open up the project that we left off with at the end of part 4. And we're going to start by solving the problem of not being able to enter multiple digits for our second number. So to do that, we're going to add an attribute here at the top, and we'll call it user is typing second number. And we'll set that equal to false. We'll initialize that to false, because the user is going to start by typing their first number. So that'll be false right now. And then we're going to come down here into the digit press slot, and we're going to go into this if statement, and we'll add another set of parentheses around this. And then at the end, right before the last parentheses, we're going to say and then some more parentheses and say not self dot user is typing second number. Alright, so now we'll go in here. If we press one of these operation buttons and we're not typing a second number yet, then we replace the number. And if we replace the number, then that means we are typing a second number. So that means we need to set that attribute to true. So now next time we come in here, this will be not, we will be typing a second number, that'll be true, so this will be not true, so that'll be false. So we won't replace the number, so we'll just append to it, and we'll be able to type multiple digits. So let's try that. So now 5 plus 31, you can see that now works. Alright, so we also need to go down to the end of equals pressed. So just go down here and we'll say self.user's typing second number equals false. So once we do like 3 plus 3 and say equals, we're done typing our second number. So now that attribute should be set to false. Alright, now we're going to define a new slot for the clear button. Alright, and in this, we're just going to reset the calculator to its initial state. So to do that, we'll just start with setting the checked properties to false for all the buttons. So we can just copy and paste that for subtract, multiply, and divide. Alright, so once we set those all checked to false, if we press clear, then we're obviously not going to be typing a second number, so we can set that property to false. And one more thing that we want to do, we'll say self.label.setText. We'll set that equal to 0, because that's the way our calculator starts. It starts just by showing a 0. So if we type like 98 and then type clear, as you can see, that doesn't work yet, so let's scroll to the top. Up in our constructor, we're going to connect the clear button to that slot. So self.pushButton clear.clicked.connect self.clear pressed. Alright, so now if we run that, we can type 85 and press clear, and it goes back to 0. And now we can do 2 plus 3 and get 5. We can clear that. 9 times 3, 27. Alright, that looks like that's working now. So one more thing that we'll check out, we'll need to fix a bug in this. So if we type, let's say 8.20, you can see we can't type a 0 after the decimal. And that is because we are converting that number to a float type, and 8.20 converted to a float is the same as 8.2. so it just removes that 0. So we want to tell it to keep that 0 even though it technically evaluates to the same number. So to do that, we'll go up into the digit press slot and we'll come into this else statement. We're going to be appending a 0 to a number. So let's see. So right here, we're going to need to check to see if there's a decimal in the number. And if there's a decimal, and the user types 0 as well, then we just want to add the 0 without converting it to a float. So to do that, we'll come into this else statement and we'll say if self.label.text we'll actually say let's see, we'll say if the decimal in, so this just checks to see if a decimal point is in the label text. So if it is, and the user presses the 0 button, so and button.text is equal to 0, and I like to add parentheses with multiple conditions like this just to make sure it's evaluated the way that I expect it to be. Alright, so if that is the case, if there's a decimal and the user presses 0, then we'll just say self.label, we'll say new label rather, equals, we can just copy and paste this from down here, and we will we'll still use the format function, but instead of 0.15g we'll just say 0.15, because since we only keep 15 digits of precision, we'll still enforce that, but the G is used for floating point types. We will not need that since we already have a string. We'll just convert that to 15 digits. Alright, so once we have that, then we can say an else right here. Else we can do what we've been doing, just convert the label text to the float, and then we just set the label down here. So let's run that. Now you can see if we type 8.02501, you can see we can type the 0 after that. So now we can multiply that by 3 and we'll get 24. Alright, we can subtract 24, we should get 0 point something. Yep. Alright, so it looks like it's all working. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and hopefully now you can take your knowledge of PyQt and go make some awesome applications. Thanks for watching, guys.